Hello everybody and welcome to the Opus 14 win set review. We are here to talk about all these amazing win cards, and this set just gets crazier every time I look into into the next color. Like every color has been progressively better as the last, and we're not stopping here. We have water coming up and the light and dark stuff. I know there's not a lot of those, but we still have stuff to talk about with all of those cards. So thank you guys for joining. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and with that we can get started. We have Typhon, Sin, and Chocomog. So Typhon is probably one of the favorite monsters of this set. If you control 3 or more wind backups, he also becomes a forward of 8k. When Typhon enters the field, choose a forward, put it under the top 4 cards of its owner's deck. That's such a it's such a cool effect. We're getting to the point where we're sending things to the bottom of the deck now, and now instead of just on top of the deck or back into the deck. So that's going to disrupt a lot of plays. Also going to, if they only saw one of whatever it is they're looking for, they're just going to draw it again and not get closer to the card they were looking for. There's a lot of potential here to disrupt the deck even more, but I like this card a lot. It's super fun. Should see some play. Sin. Final Aeon. I'm just a little disappointed that from a 9-cost dark card he goes into wind. But he is a category 10 forward that we can play. So during your opponent's turn, the forwards your opponent controls cannot use action abilities. I do like his effect. And for 4 CP, 2 win, 2 colorless, choose an auto ability, cancel its effect. So all in all, very strong card. With the right amount of CP, you can deal a lot of damage on your by preventing your opponent from doing anything, and just his passive is gonna definitely put him, make him 10 times more playable than the other Sin. But I think it's a strong card. Did Wind need something like this? Maybe not, but Wind is also the one that usually has the protection, right? I think it was 7 Ishtola and Unsaganashi, so it's no exception here. Definitely a great deck and a card in title, so good luck there. We have Chocomog. EX Burst, choose a forward, deal it 1,000 for each character you control. If you control Job Moogle or card name Moogle, and Job Moogle or card name Moogle, draw a card. So you need one of each, and you can draw a card. So pretty solid card. It should make its way into something. It's a 2-drop spell, right? EX Burst, so still very good, very playable. Very splashable, really. Next is going to be Kektoroni, Not Just Elohim, and Jotes. We did talk about these during the pre-release stuff, but these are the ones that I felt like were better than all the other Wind cards that we saw. Wind actually has enough because of the dual color ones for us to get into 5 pages of these. So we won't spend too much time on these. Kektoroni, we know, gets a counter, and then you can activate cards equal to counters, right? And choose up to the same number of characters as the monster counters. Naja Salim is something that puts counters on something if it's able to deal damage, and cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities. Now there's the counter thing is going to start increasing. We already had we have these new ones that say at the end of the turn get a counter. We have some forwards that require counters, and they can protect themselves with the counters. And we have some the older monsters that just say get a counter when you play a character of the same color, and there's a lot of the counter thing is coming up more often now. So something like this is going to be useful for a deck like that. I know the colors and the counters are all over, or very separated right now, but it's definitely going to need some more cards like this. I think the only other card like this is like a Sid backup. It's an ice one. I think that only works for monsters, though. I don't think you can target forwards or something like that. And Jote is just another. It's going to be the next version of the FFCC one. Norstalen, almost blanked on that one. When Jote enters the field, you may search for a card named Fran or a card named Mirren and add it to your hand. I didn't put Mirren in here because she just, she's the searchable one, right? She's the 2-drop one. And she activates one of either Joe or Fran. So the 3 of them work in conjunction with each other, but this one's going to be the one you're searching for. This is the one you're playing 4 of. I'm pretty sure this is the full art one too, so there's that. You have White Mage, Rosa, and Sniper. I put White Mage in here because we did see Luso recently in the Lightning one. So when White Mage enters the field, choose up to 2 backups of an element other than wind you control and activate them. I think it's going to work as a setup card, specifically only for that deck. There is some use for this in other decks, but the consistency in backups and just to like draw into this is just going to be a little too unnecessary, really. But I think in the FFTA2 deck, the colors will start to show itself because the backups are scattered all over every color as well. So this is going to help something like that. Now, Rosa, very interesting card. White Mage, category 4, forward 7k. When you cast the 3rd card you've cast this turn, activate all backups you control. When you cast the 5th card you've cast this turn, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a character, you may play it onto the field. And for 1 wind, Rosa gains cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities. So, funny thing too, it's you don't have to cast things, but when her first ability triggers, you can try to preemptively give her cannot be targeted, so then everything just activates again. So I like her for a hero, and I just love the art. I don't think we're getting a full art of this one, but this is definitely something you do if you win. If you win like Worlds or you qualify for Nationals or whatever, one of those tournaments that the Influencer Cup, and you're able to pick something. Now, Sniper is just a standard unit, another FFTA2 one. I think every color got something like this. When this card or whatever becomes dull, do this. The reason I put Sniper in here is because we already saw Bismarck and how he works, and he's just going to add damage to the deck. I don't think he's like super necessary for the deck, but whenever Sniper becomes dull, choose a forward your opponent controls, deal it 4k. So, and that includes when it attacks, right? So even if it does nothing else, even if in sealed or limited, any of those other formats or whatever, Sniper is going to be a solid card because it's going to be able to attack and deal an extra damage somewhere else or punch up to something big. Now we're into the spicy stuff. So I put these all in here obviously because they're first wind, and that's just me personally how I categorize them. Zidane cannot be blocked. Stop. When Zidane deals damage to your opponent, choose up to 1 forward, return it to its owner's hand, and you can steal. Your opponent reveals their hand, select the card in their hand, your opponent removes it from the game. You can cast it as though you owned it this turn. You can only use this ability during your turn. Now, we talked about that one as well during the pre-release stuff, but I just think he's such a great card. I like him a lot. He made his way back on here. Stealing stuff. The steal is obviously you need the right colors, but if you're playing Wind Water, you could be playing something to color fix you. So just being able to cast something, or it's really just taking something out of their hand, right? It's just gonna be great. And if they don't respond to it, then you get to take it, and then that's it. They have to deal with the consequences. I just like his all of his effects cannot be blocked, and choose a forward, return to its owner's hand. So you can effectively send something back and then steal it and remove it from play, and then cast it yourself, all in like the same turn. So yeah. And Prish. If you cast Prish, you may pay an extra wind, earth, and colorless. When Prish enters the field, if you pay the extra cost, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Play up to 1 wind character or an earth character of cost 5 or less among them, and play it onto the field, and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck. So for 7 CP, which isn't bad, you can play 2 cards, which is good, but it just also helps you filter and go through the deck. So and then at 3 damage, Prish gains 1,000 and Brave. Normal Prish things, right? The Aerith, is always my biggest problem with Aerith is that it's just a name conflict. But this one's not too bad, I guess. When Aerith enters the field, select one of the 2 following actions. Choose a forward other than Aerith you control. Return it to its owner's hand. That's the water stuff. Choose a forward you control. It gains this forward cannot be chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities until the beginning of your next turn. So it buys you a whole nother turn. That's really where she shines, and that's why we put her on here. At first, I didn't have her on here, and then I read it again, and I thought, okay. So it kind of does like the Kadash thing, right? Because Kadash comes in at the end, and it lasts until the end of your next turn, right? Well, when she comes out, you choose a forward. It cannot be targeted or whatever. until the beginning of your next turn, right? So it adds that extra layer of safety on your opponent's turn for whatever. Like if you need something to, like you absolutely need something to survive, because we have those primals now, and the primals are gonna like do some nutty things. If you absolutely need something to survive, Aerith is probably gonna be the best way to go in there. She's super cheap, super effective, and like when we're playing this one, we probably won't need the other Aeriths, right? Because up until now, the best Aerith has been the light one, and then in a close second would be the Minwu one, which kind of like protects your other forwards, and then back in the old day, obviously the planetary whatever one, the one that activates your backups, which we obviously will never see in. We probably shouldn't see it in play anymore, but who knows? But yeah, so definitely strong. These three cards are by far my favorite from the whole win stuff. They're all going to make their way into a deck, especially the Zidane, in my opinion. But, yeah. And lastly, we have Bismarck, Von, and Garuda. Now, we talked about Bismarck and Garuda and Von already, but, if you didn't listen, if you didn't check out those videos, or you want to maybe I have now some new insight, the more I see Bismarck and Garuda-related Vortex, I don't know if they're really going to go together, but let's go over to them anyway. When a character is returned from the field to its owner's hand, draw a card. This effect will trigger only once per turn. At the end of each of your turns, choose up to one win character you control, return it to its owner's hand. Duel an active win forward, choose a forward. Duel one active win forward, choose a forward, deal it 2,000 damage. And then Garuda says, when Garuda-related Vortex enters the field, choose a forward of power 9,000 or more your opponent controls, break it. When a forward of power 9,000 or more your opponent enters the field, you draw a card. Now, putting them together sure seems like the right thing to do sometimes. They don't necessarily help each other directly. The biggest thing I thought for Garuda afterwards that I didn't think of before is she might actually be a good way to counter sort of other primals, right? She's going to come in and take one out, right? Because they're all I think they're all in the 9k range with the exception of Moogle of the Mog King. So she's definitely going to come in and break one, right? So she's going to be your reactive version of the primal to the other primals. And whenever they replay the primal, you'll benefit from it. So in that sense, you can put them in the same deck. You're still playing mono wind. You're still going to be getting the effects from I don't remember the whatever 2-drop version backup that they have, Vanu Vanu, I think, or whatever, right? But like that's just where they stand, right? And after that, if they don't, it's just that's really where I am with them right now. We already know how nasty the Bismarck's going to be. I think Bismarck's going to set up a lot of OTK plays and a lot of that's something you can target with Aerith, right? Because you're going to need him on the board to continue to return cards and get you that extra draw value, extra CP, and they're going to do great things together in the mono win deck. So and lastly we have Von, the Sky Pirate. Very nice art. Love it. It's definitely good. I think it's sleeves already. They already have sleeves for it, and I think they're master sleeves, right? And we're definitely looking at a full art for this card. When Von enters the field, you may search for one Job Sky Pirate of cost 2 or less and play it onto the field. Then activate all the backups you control. When the Job Sky Pirate you control is chosen by your opponent's summons or abilities, choose up to 2 backups, activate them. Not a bad thing. The best thing is the protection. It's almost like pseudo protection, right? Because you're gonna, whenever your Sky Pirates are targeted, you'll activate stuff, let that resolve, then use that same CP to place something from your hand if you have it, or cast something else, or activate the right backups that negate or protect, whatever your opponent is trying to do, right? I just don't think the Sky Pirates, all the little Sky Pirates are weenies, in my opinion. They're like too weak and not, there isn't enough there for me to be interested in it yet. I'm definitely sure someone is going to take the time to do it. If you guys would like, I might put in the time for it, but it's not at the top of my list, honestly. I'm definitely going to be focusing on building primal decks for the beginning of this set. And What else? And then I want to see where other decks are. Like my top favorites right now are probably going to be monks and knights, and mono water, anything water related, as always, but not sky pirates. So, all right, guys, that's gonna wrap up the wind one. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you think I missed any card from here that should be on here, and what's your favorite wind card? The usual questions. So, thanks for listening. Hope you liked it. I'll see you next time.